All right, so a lot of people have been asking me about subject to investing. So today what I'm going to do is share with you what subject to investing is. I'm going to tell you how it works. We're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages and also some things to keep in mind coming up. What's up, everybody? Jamel Gibbs here with the REI Education Academy, helping you close deals consistently in your real estate investing business. All right, so subject to deals. What exactly is a subject to deal? Well, basically, a subject to deal is when you, as an investor, meet a motivated seller who can't get rid of their property. Let's just say that they've exhausted all of their resources and they can't sell the property. Well, what you can do as an investor is approach a seller and invite them with the idea of taking over their debt. That's exactly what a subject to deal is. All you're doing as an investor is taking over the underlying debt that's already on the property. So you're basically taking over the seller's payments. Now, how exactly does this work? Well, basically, in order to execute a subject to deal, the loan stays in the seller's name. So any debt, any existing financing that's on the property, any mortgages or anything like that stays in the seller's name, but the property will be deeded over to you as the buyer. So basically, you're getting the best of both worlds, right? The loan stays in the seller's name, but you own the property. And to me, that's really one of the best ways to buy real estate in any market. Now, when you're contracting this type of deal, all you really need to do is fill out a regular standard purchase and sale agreement with the seller. And on that contract, all you're going to do is write subject to the existing mortgage. And in addition to the contract, in order to get the deal closed, all you're going to need is the loan balance as well as the monthly payment amount. So you want to know the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance that's on the property. And then you send that contract out to your attorney or the title company that's going to close the deal, and they'll take it from there. Another thing to keep in mind is when you're dealing directly with the seller on this type of deal, you don't want to mention to the seller that you're doing a subject to deal. The seller is not going to understand that type of language. So what exactly should you mention to the seller? Well, to keep it simple, all you really want to do is let the seller know that you're going to take over their existing mortgage that's on the property. You're going to let them know that you're taking over their debt. And that's all they really need to know. And then you can get the deal closed from there. So the object here is really to keep it simple. You don't want to overcomplicate the situation. You don't want to confuse the seller. You just want to make the deal as simple as possible. And in essence, what you're really doing is helping the seller and getting out of whatever their situation is. Now, what are some of the advantages of doing a subject to deal? Well, basically, you as an investor will never have to go to the bank to get a loan, so no banks needed. Even if you decided to sell the property on the other end, you don't ever need to go to the bank to get this type of deal done. And in addition to that, you really don't need a lot of money down either. In some cases, you don't have to put any money down unless the seller is backed up on their mortgage and you need to catch up on the mortgage payments. But for the most part, you really don't need to put that much money down. Just a simple $10 earnest money deposit just to validate the contract, and that's about it. Other than that, you really don't need a lot of money down on these types of deals. Another benefit to keep in mind is if the seller has a low interest rate on their property, on their mortgage, then you get to take advantage of that low interest rate because all you're doing is taking over their existing debt. So keep that in mind moving forward as well. And one of my favorite things about doing a subject to deal and taking over existing debt is you get the pay down on the property. So let's just say the seller has a 30-year mortgage on the property and they lived in the property for, let's say, 7 years. So now they have 23 years left on the property in order to get it paid off. So basically, when you take over the existing debt, you get the advantage of whatever equity was built into that property over that 7-year period. And usually around the 15th or 16th year, you start paying more principal on the property than you do interest. When you take over a property subject to, and let's just say the seller owned the property for a certain period of time, you can get the advantage of the pay down. You get to take advantage of the amount of time that the seller owned that property. So if you decide to keep that property long term, you're really shortening the length of time that it's going to take for you to start building a lot more equity in that property. And just like with the pay down, you also take advantage of building more equity in the property over time as well. So you really get all the benefits of owning the property, again, without having the mortgage or the note or any type of financing in your name. It really is a solid investment strategy to use as a real estate investor. And because you don't have to go to the banks to get a loan, you don't need any credit to do this type of deal. So if you have terrible credit right now and you're looking for a way to start getting more rental properties, this is probably one of the best ways to get into the rental business as a real estate investor with bad credit. Now, with the good, there's obviously some bad that has to come along with it as well. Otherwise, it would be too good to be true, right? Basically, with subject to investing, there's something called a due on sale clause. So when you do this type of deal, a bank can call the loan due at any time. Does it happen? Very rarely has it ever happened. In fact, I've never known anybody it's ever happened to, but it is a possibility. And that's one thing you want to keep in mind when you're doing these types of deals. All right, so let's bring this all full circle. So basically, when it comes to subject to deals, you have the seller who's going to keep the financing, the existing underlying debt in their name. You are going to receive the deed to the property, and you're going to make payments on the existing loan that's on the deal. All right, now, if you don't make payments, then obviously that's considered to be fraud, and you can go to jail for that. So make sure you are making the existing payments on the loan. But with a subject to deal, another thing you want to keep in mind is the seller can't necessarily foreclose on you because you don't have any of the debt in your name. You're basically taking over the loan that's under their name. So no one can actually foreclose on you. But you always want to do the right thing by the seller. Make sure you take care of the seller first before you think about your own pockets. Now, in addition to getting a deed transferred into your name, you're also going to make sure you get the insurance transferred into your name and make sure you pay the taxes on the property as well. And remember, you get the best of both worlds with this type of deal. You actually own the property without having the mortgage on the property. The mortgage is in the seller's name, so it stays in their name, and you get the advantages of owning that property. And the final thing I want to talk about is closing these deals with an attorney. Make sure you have an attorney close these deals so you can make sure you're doing everything the right way. Again, dot all your I's, cross all your T's. Make sure an attorney is documenting this entire thing. It's a level of protection for you and the seller, and you're making sure you're getting the deals done the right way. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you still have questions in regards to subject to deals, leave a comment. Let me know what your questions are, and I'll reply to that comment below this video. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell for more videos just like this. Looking forward to doing more in the very near future.